So we have actor Clifton Powell, who's one of my favorites, who is going to speak on experiencing anti-Black racism and colorism way back in his younger years of being in the acting world. And he's going to talk about the way that he addresses it then and now. Take a look.
The producers told the director that I was so dark that it looked like I would scare everyone, so they wouldn't hire me. That's happened to me on a McDonald's commercial, and the agency thought I was just too dark. You gotta understand, still people like that in the world. It's people like that in this business. I did a TV series, which I am not gonna say, but some of the Teamsters were Klan members. I don't take any from anybody that's racist, sexist, or anything, period. I encountered some racism on New York Undercover. The sound man, he was trying to put the mic in my hair. I had a scarf. I was playing this little thug guy, and I had my head wrapped like Tupac used to wear. And I told the sound guy, I said, "Sir, I don't want to run the wire up in my hair because I'm going to be rolling on the ground." Maybe I was being a little overprotective, but I could choke. Freak accidents happen in this business all the time. He turned to me and looked me in my eye. He said, "I tell you what then, why don't you do your sound in post?" What that means is, why don't you do the show and then you let them fly you back in and then put your sound in? I said, "No problem." So I called the first AD and I said, "I think your sound man is a racist." He said, "Well, what happened, Mr. Powell?" I said, "Well, I was telling him I wanted to put the mic either on my leg or behind my back and put the wire up in my shirt somewhere." And he told me to do mine in post. So he said, "Don't worry, I'll talk to him, Mr. Powell." So I assumed that he talked to him. I got back after lunch, I had to go to sound, same sound guy. I said, "Sir, like I said before, I don't want to put the wire in my hair." And then he said, "Boy, what did I tell you before?" And I stepped back and I said, "Let me tell you something, bro. I will knock out of you on this set. And any one of you white boys got a problem with me, I'll fight every one of you, period. I'm prepared to give you back your hotel money, your flight money, and I'm flying out as soon as I get out of my trailer." The next day I had a brand new trailer and nobody in the crew talked to me. I did my week and I left. I try to be amiable. I try to be cool, but I'm also a young man that has worked his ass off to get everything I have, but you're not going to punk me. I will die first.
Well, yeah, if you think about it, he's talking about back in the days of New York Undercover, which was one of my favorite shows with Malik Yoba. And back then, there were very, very few actors of a darker complexion that were on deck and like really hot and popping, right? Like, I think there was Wesley Snipes, who was popping back then, and Malik Yoba for sure when New York Undercover was on. And then here you have Clifton Powell. But as you can hear, they were saying that his complexion was too dark for, the job that he was wanting to do. And then also he speaks about what happened and how he was disrespected. And that was definitely, definitely anti-Black racism, the way he was disrespected when he made a simple request, which made sense what he was requesting, and probably wouldn't have been the same reception if it was one of the folks that was requesting that same thing about placement of his mic. And what I love is the way that he expressed it, or the way that he handled it. And he made sure that, look, I'm not going to put up with it at all. I'm going to put hands on somebody and I'm going to give you all your money back and I'm just going to go home. And that's what it means when you don't allow yourself to be disrespected or treated in a racist way for a job. Because if you think about it, back then, there wasn't the Morris Chestnut and the Idris Elba and the Sterling K. Brown and all of the beautiful Taye Diggs, all of the beautiful darker complexion men that are killing it right now in Hollywood. It wasn't a thing. Back then, it was the Michael Ealy's, it was the Shamar Moores, it was the Gary Dourdan, with the blue eyes and the light skin. And that was what, it was them that were getting all of the work, So it did transition ultimately, but not back when when we go back to the days of New York Undercover and the movies. Back then, it was always the lighter skinned men that were getting the jobs. So I loved that he did not compromise himself, and he made it clear that you're not going to treat me this way. And to this day, as he mentions, he's not putting up with it. And so he kind of, carved the way for a lot of the darker complexion actors that are also my favorites, like Blair Underwood. That's another one that I really love. I love to see this happening, and I love to see these darker complexion men killing it right now, including Clifton Powell. So I love, 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 love that he's sharing this story, and I think it will inspire any other up and coming actors that are of a darker complexion to not put up with it. And we need more Tyler Perrys of the world that have created whole compounds to employ Black actors and actresses. And so we need more of that. This is another major institution, I feel like, in Hollywood that would benefit of having our own production companies, having our own producers and actors and writers and directors, and really unifying in that space. So you're creating jobs for each other. So you're not just crabs in a barrel of one Black man that's written on a script that they want for a job, and then you hear this nonsense like, I think your complexion is going to scare people. What kind of stupidity is that? What kind of ignorance is that? Right? So I would love to see more of the compounds and production companies and stuff like that that are run, operated, owned, and employed by Black people for Black people. And we definitely need that in Hollywood. Because even with these actors that you see, like the Idris Elbas and the Morris Chestnuts of the world, they still have to suffer through rejection as well. And I'm sure they probably still hear nonsense like that when they're up for a role. So I think it's important that we start building our own and separate. Right? Let me know what you all think about this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this content. Also, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News app from your Google or Apple store. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Emma Ansah Unfiltered. Until next time, please be safe.